¿De qué vamos a hablar hoy?
So that I came up in conversation a while back about hunting, like what hunting is and what the perspective is of most people regarding hunting. And it seems like when you mention hunting to someone, they immediately think about when you're pulling the trigger on the rifle, or maybe you're, shooting that bow. And that's such a small, literally small point of hunting. It's maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute of the entire hunting process.
Yeah, it involves a lot of time and knowledge to get to that point. And then after that point, it's just like you said, it's just so little. And after, there's more work actually after that shot.
Yeah, if the part of shooting the rifle or the bow is like this big, hunting is like this big. You can't see my because there's things you have to do before you actually, get to that point where you're pulling the trigger. And a lot of that has to do with, I guess, the want, and then getting out to scout and learn and educate yourself about the animal or animals that you want to hunt, and then knowing where they live. I mean, everything about that animal. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of time.
Studying, getting your hunting education, so that way you can get a hunting license, and you can apply for a tag. So it's a process. It's not like, I also have a lot of friends that ask me, can you just go and shoot anywhere? And I have to explain to them, no, I have to apply for a tag. And if I'm lucky enough to get the tag for that animal in that specific zone that I apply, then I can go. That doesn't mean that I will get the animal or I can harvest the animal. That means that I can go and try. But like Olaf was saying, that it's, let's say hunting is 2 months, for example. We put 3, 4, 5 months in advance, hiking, scouting, getting to know the animal, getting to know the terrain, getting to know the weather, like everything that involves going those 2 months.
There's a huge learning process. I mentioned learning about the animal. That's one aspect. But in order to be able to hunt, you have to get a tag. And in order to get a tag, you have to have a license. And in order to get a license, you have to go through hunter education. So you've already put in hours of learning to get to the point where you can apply for a tag. Now, I say apply. Not every time you apply, you're going to get a tag which allows you to go and hunt the animal. Depends on the animal, depends on the location, depends if you're a resident or non-resident. The entire tag process is different in every state, and that in and of itself is a huge education, because every state runs their wildlife program differently. And there are costs associated. There's a cost for hunter ed, there's a cost for a license, there's a cost for the tags, and so on. So it really is, there's just a whole bunch. And then, you decide, I want to go hunt deer. What kind of deer? And then you have to learn, where do those deer live? When are they, when are they eating? Where are they eating? Where do they bed? What are they doing? Hunting season, like Paola said, is anywhere from 30 to 60 days. I mean, depending on the animal. But, you have, why is it at that time of the year, right? Why is hunting season then? So there's a whole bunch. And then how do their habits change at that time of the year versus when you were scouting in advance? So there's a huge learning curve that goes into it before you actually get out there. And then it's the other stuff that's kind of fun for a lot of people, the gear. What do I need for, gear? What do I, what time of year? Where am I going? All that's very different. So it really just depends on, a lot of different aspects. It's not just that 30 seconds or 1 minute when you go to pull the trigger or release your bow. There's a ton that goes in it. And then after the fact, if you are lucky enough to find the animal and get the animal, then you have, the field processing of the animal. And then you have, packing the animal out. And then you have processing the animal so that you can basically get it ready to go into your freezer. And there's a big learning curve with all of that as well. So there's a lot that goes into it. And so, when we talk about hunting or people ask us and they just talk about the shooting aspect of it, there's just a ton more that goes into it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we just want to talk about a little of very, I guess, small part of what hunting or what are the different stages of hunting, and give you guys the ones that are not very, familiar with hunting, that involves a lot of work, a lot of knowledge, a lot of time, a lot of money. We put a lot of money into conservation. All the money that the tax, license, and every time that we apply for each zone, that money goes into conservation for certain species or to keep the land. So all that, it's hunting. So we just wanted to give you guys a little idea of...
Yeah, just a little different perspective on what goes into hunting.
And then after you do everything, if you're lucky enough to get the animal, if you are, because it's more the times that you don't get the animal, a lot of times that you don't get it. When you get the animal and do all the processing and you bring all the meat, it's still the same process. You have to take care of that meat a little different than the one that you do in the supermarket. In the supermarket, you just throw those steaks and that's all. But let's say that animal has it's a wild animal. It's being running. He has muscles. He has muscles that we have to break when we do slow cook. I love my slow cooker, so I put everything in there. I do a lot of stews. I do a lot of carnitas. I do, depending on the animal, but we do use every part of the animal, and we try to everything that we can use everything that we can from those animals. So it's not like we just shoot the animal and a lot of people ask, you just leave it there? And I said, no, we bring everything to our home. We share those with our friends, with our family. We have meat for months, and we just so proud of making a meal, cooking a meal that we know where it's coming from, that the animal that we how can I say, like, we are using the life, and we took that life, but we using it to feed ourselves and our families. So that's a little different perspective of hunting and how we see it and how it is.
The perspective of it. We do eat. We only kill the animals that we're going to eat, and which is interesting because sometimes when we bring up hunting, people say, do you eat that? Do you eat it? Yeah, we do. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be killing it. We fill our freezer with that, and that's what we eat. So it's part of conservation and just the way things work. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. See you later.
Bye.